What's up, everybody? Welcome to Last Man Standing, episode 19. As I always say, my name is Tony Farmer. He is Ryan Hogue, the last man standing in the 2003 NFL Draft, drafted by the Raiders. We're here to talk to you guys about Circa Survivor and specifically Week 9 selection counts. They just came out hot off the presses a few minutes ago. We're going to discuss our reaction to those. Before we get to that, though, Ryan, did you do anything special for Halloween? Did you dress up? How was your weekend?
I did dress up. I'm a big fan of dressing up. I love Halloween and all the things that it encompasses. I was in Disneyland. I went with some friends and dressed up. I don't know what my costume was, but I had a wig and it was ridiculous. And it was a lot of fun because I was with people that belong to Club 33. If you're familiar with Club 33 at Disney, which is there's only a handful of people in the world that have exclusive access to it. Look it up, Google it. It's a pretty sweet.
You get to the front of the line for rides or food, or what are we talking here?
Oh yeah. You get everything. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's honestly, it's hard to ever go on another ride or a theme park without it. So.
No, oh, you're spoiled now. You're broken.
Yeah.
I love it.
How about you? Did you dress up?
No, man. In fact, to be honest, I haven't dressed up for Halloween for a couple of years. It's been a while. I'm not really against it, but it's just not my cup of tea. I'm not a huge holiday guy in general, to be honest.
One just has to look at your pics and realize that you always dress as a clown. So
says the guy who had the paper bag on his head a couple weeks ago. Come on.
I wear that with pride.
Oh, Justin Leff wants to know, how did you get Club 33 10-year waitlist? How am I out of the loop on this? I've never heard of this shit.
Justin, let me just tell you, I'm sworn to secrecy, but let's just say I know the right people. So
wow, connections.
Yeah.
Okay, I will be Googling this tonight to figure out what the hell you guys are all talking about. And what do you mean you don't know what you dressed up as? You had a wig. Was it just random? I'll grab this. I'll grab this.
That's correct.
And people are like, "Oh, what are you?" And you're like, "I don't know."
I was the envy of people because they were like, "That's a sweet costume."
Oh wow. Okay. All right. You got pictures? I mean, I know you can't show now on the show, but I'm curious.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to talk about this selection count. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Ryan, correct me if I'm wrong. You've not seen this yet.
I have not seen it, but we are in the same city for the first time in a long time.
Ooh, yeah. It's been a while. You are in Austin now. Jet setter here for a couple days. Hopefully,
for a couple days. Then I go to California. Then I go to Florida next week, and then I go back to Cali, then to Vegas for the next home game. We don't have a home game till the 24th of November, so 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's a long stretch, man.
Yeah.
All right, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull up these selection counts. Give Ryan a chance to digest these because he's seen them for the first time. I'm still digesting them, to be honest. I just saw them for the first time a couple minutes ago. We got the Bengals on top with 44. Saints a little higher than I thought with 40, even though there were some projections out there that had the Saints as number one. I'm surprised to see that many on the Saints. 39 with the Ravens. Obviously, it looks like Lamar's going to be healthy now, but that was kind of in question earlier this week when he missed back-to-back practices. 22 trusting the Vikings versus the Colts. And then we've got 18 on the Eagles. I think the Eagles are probably, if you selected the Eagles, you're probably the big winner here in terms of expected value because there was, I think, around 90 or so people who could take the Eagles and only 18 did. So that number came in a lot lower than I thought. I think some people are saying, I want to save the Eagles for the week that they play the Panthers. That's what I think is going on there. But Ryan, what are your overall thoughts on this?
Initial thoughts are, number one, I mean, how many times are the Bengals going to let people down? 23% of the pool. Although, I don't believe the Raiders necessarily will win the game, but I will say as I did a deep dive, they match up really well. Assuming T. Higgins, who's doubtful, doesn't play, like the Bengals have proven they don't run the ball well. Their offensive tackle is out. Their other tackle is banged up. And, when you can just like the one thing they do, they have pretty good corners with Las Vegas. So they're going to be able to limit Jamar Chase. I think Gesicki's going to have a huge game. So that's going to be really interesting. I don't think it's going to be a runaway for the Bengals. And then I'm looking at that Vikings game, and And I know you love the revenge factor, Tony. You know, if people remember, I think it was 2 years ago that the Vikings Colts played, and the Colts were up by 32 at halftime, 33-3, something along those lines. They were up around 30 points, and the Vikings came back. It was the biggest comeback in the history. I could definitely see the Colts remembering that. I love the fact that they're playing Flacco. I think it gives them the best chance to win. And the Vikings defense has finally, like, people are starting to figure it out. And if they don't get home with their unique pressure and their variety of pressures that they show and uniqueness, like they can get exposed. And Flacco's an old grizzled vet. So that's going to be a really fun game to watch. And I think Sam Darnold is finally falling from grace. And I think people are recognizing that, you know, he's good he's solid in a good offense like they have, but we'll see. TJ Hawkinson coming back is certainly a big boost for the Vikings. I think he'll have a big day.
Yeah, you know, no matter how much you like the Vikings, at the end of the day, if you take them, you're taking a team on a 2-game losing streak. Same thing with the Saints pick here with 40 people. No matter how much you like the Saints, knowing that they crushed the Panthers earlier this season, no matter how much you want to fade the Panthers, at the end of the day, with $14.266 million on the line, you're taking a team that has lost 6 games in a row.
Six in a row. Yeah, the Jets were at 5. Yeah, and Raiders are at 4. That's ballsy. But hey, zig when people zag. That's why I bring that back up. That's why I see Titans.
Commanders, baby.
Titans, I mean, that's ballsy. Commanders versus the Giants, you know, that's a coin flip game. I feel like Titans versus Patriots. I mean, the Patriots, I think, are probably a better team, to be honest with you. I like the Chiefs. I feel really good about them, even though they, you know, you have them later on. I'm assuming that whoever's picking the Chiefs, maybe they either have multiple entries or it's one of those situations where they're planning on selling at some point before Thanksgiving or before Christmas, and therefore they just want to continue to get their value up, and so that eventually they can sell.
Well, Ryan, how about I tell you this? You know, one of the Chiefs owners, Mike Buckmiller, who was on our show. By the way, if you haven't seen that episode yet, make sure you watch it. Former Circa Survivor champion Mike Buckmiller. He's won it all 2022. He took to Twitter, as they do every week over at Survivor Sweat. They take over the Twitter handle, and he said he's got 1 on the Chiefs and two on the Vikings, I believe, is what he said. So I was really surprised to see that. I think the Chiefs, in my opinion, are just way too valuable because of, you know, having those 2 holiday games, good spots for them. I mean, nobody's got a good spot on Christmas. Let's be real. All those games are ugly, but that's just too much value for me. But like you said, if you got multiple entries and you want to be on an island in a week that, do you agree with me, Ryan? I think this could be a high carnage week. We've had a couple weeks in a row now where not a lot of people have gotten knocked out. I can poke holes in the Bengals. I can poke holes in the Saints. I can poke holes in the Ravens. I can definitely poke holes in the Vikings and even the Eagles too, with, you know, their injuries to Slay and Goddard. I wouldn't be shocked to see 2 or 3 of those top teams go down. Am I crazy?
I couldn't agree more. And I'm just remembering that the Ravens are 9.5. I might have moved down to 8 or 8.5 now against Denver, but you know, defense travels, and that's something we talked about on our show earlier this week. So, you know, Denver is going to be able to provide some problems for the Ravens. They're not going to be able to just, you know, run the ball at will, because I think front 7, they're going to get beat up, and then they have Patrick Surtain to be able to shut down half the field. That's a big deal. And the Ravens haven't stopped anybody. I mean, they had Devontae Adams and Gardner Minshew tear them up. Brock Bowers tear them up. Like, you know, and I would say Denver's offense is right there with the Raiders' offense. And, you know, you saw what the Raiders did to them. So I think that could be an absolute upset alert. And I think, you know, it's going to be a close game. I think it comes down to a field goal. There's going to be a lot of people sweating on that one.
Talk about a lot of people sweating. How about the Colts-Vikings game? The Colts have not been in a game this year that's been decided by more than 6 points. You got 22 people taking the Vikings against them. That game, I really feel like, is going to be a sweat for sure. I got a question for you, Ryan. You were saying the Bengals running game isn't very good. Neither is the Raiders. Who has a worse running game, the Bengals or the Raiders?
Raiders have a worse running game, but I will say that one of the key stats that I looked into is, with the exception, or the Bengals have given up 301 yards to quarterbacks rushing this season. Every quarterback against them except Andy Dalton has had 29 or more yards. And whether it's Gardner Minshew, he's not fast or athletic, but he does have pretty good pocket presence, and he likes to move around. He tends to throw when he's out of the pocket. This would be a great game for him to run. They might have some packages I'm hearing with Desmond Ridder, who obviously is going back home to Cincinnati where he played college ball. And I think they're going to, utilize his ability to run. So that's definitely an Achilles heel for Cincinnati. So while the Raiders can't run necessarily with Madison or White, I think that their quarterbacks are absolutely valid to get, a couple first downs and things like that. So it's going to be an interesting game for sure.
For sure. The other thing that comes to mind as I look at this, I think from the Bills down, if you took the Chiefs, Titans, or Commanders, tomorrow's kind of an interesting day, because I know this probably isn't going to happen, Ryan, but theoretically, if the Bengals, Saints, Ravens, Vikings, and Eagles all lose, you're almost in chop territory at that point. You know what I'm saying? And throw the Bills in there too. We're talking about 14 people left. If you're on the Chiefs, Titans, or Commanders, I don't want to say in the money because it is a winner take all event, but you talk about selling your entry on Survivor Sweat or, those sort of things. You are right where you want to be. And yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but it could. It's not that crazy of an idea. We've seen several big favorites go down. So tomorrow could be a kingmaker type day for people. And I mean, this is what just makes this contest so incredibly fun. Ryan, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you last week. Who is going to be the first favorite on this board to go down? Is it the Bengals, or do you see someone a little bit further down that's going to be the biggest out?
Ravens. I think the Ravens, although I'm not a Bo Nix backer at all, I think they've put him in a real successful situation all year. And I mean, they beat the Jets when the Jets were against the wall in bad conditions. They beat, Tampa Bay when Tampa Bay was rolling and had all their guys. They've absolutely beaten good quarterback play and good receiver play. I think that their defense just is so nasty that they're going to be able to give the Ravens, make it really tough on them to score. And then again, the Ravens are 32nd in pass defense this year. So I feel like Denver 13, Ravens 9. Denver wins by 4. That's my prediction. I do want to ask our audience out there, does anybody know what the highest entry has gone for in terms of on the marketplace? Or maybe we just need to ask Survivor Sweat in general, but I'm curious,
ever or this season or what?
Ever. I want to know, and it probably was last year since it was the highest, right? I want to know, did somebody sell their, 99% of their stake for, $400,000 or something like that? Not everybody has deep pockets like you that could just, cut a check like that, Tony. But, I am curious. If anybody knows, let us know, or Survivor Sweat, let us know. Tweet us back.
Yeah, I'm curious too. And sort of along the same line, when was, the last week in the season that an entry sold? Are people willing to get in when there's 8 people left and shit like that? So yeah, that's a really good question. Moving on down the board here. You think the Commanders could go down against the Giants?
I mean, I'll tell you this. We talked about it. The Giants should have won that first game. If they have a kicker, they beat them. The Commanders, although they didn't punt in that game, they also kicked 7 field goals. The Giants moved the ball really well against them as well. I think the Commanders' defense has tightened up since then. But, I think Daniel Jones might be playing for his job. Brian Dable might be playing for his job. It's a division battle. I think it's going to be one of those close ones. Again, division battles, I mean, those are dangerous, especially with those that are on the road. Remind me who the Bills play. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Bills. God, man, I'm having a brain fart too. Here, 1 second. People are probably laughing at us in the chat. Bills play. Why can't I remember it? I'm looking it up. Oh, Dolphins. Another divisional game in Buffalo, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
Dolphins just scare me, man. Dolphins just. I know they haven't really put it together this year on offense and defense in the same game. Their offense looked a little bit better last week, but I just feel like they could explode at any time. which is why I'd stay away from them. But I see the Bills thinking here. Nice to be on an island on the selection.
I think if the Dolphins want any chance for the Bills not to run away with that division, they have to win this game. So we'll see what happens. I think the Dolphins will actually, Tua's played his worst probably professional game last time against the Bills, in addition to getting knocked out. I feel like he'll play a lot better, and they'll certainly score points. I don't know if their defense, statistically their defense is okay, but they haven't shown up. Jalen Ramsey is not performing like a top 5 corner by any stretch of the imagination. It's really disheartening because I'm a Jalen Ramsey fan, and then obviously Javon Holland has been hurt, and I think is missing the game as well. So
yeah, and then this Jaguars game, I think Brian Thomas is your boy. Brian Thomas is going to be a game time decision in that.
He'll play. He's a rookie. He'll play.
You think he's in there? Wait, why do you say that? He'll play because he's a rookie. He's got something.
He's got young legs. He'll.
Okay.
He won't miss. He's good.
I think you're probably right, but there's going to be some people waking up tomorrow morning hoping that you're wrong, hoping that he doesn't play. Should be interesting to see. All right, the comments. We're out of comments here. Ryan, you got any other thoughts before we head out here?
No. Make sure you go vote.
Yeah, go vote. That's important. More importantly, though, not really. Make sure you go watch our last episode. We break down every single game on the Week 9 slate in a lot more depth. Also, Mike Buckmiller on that episode as well. So please check that out. Please check out the Survivor Sweat Marketplace. Check out Survivor Atlas, and that's at Survivor Atlas on Twitter, SurvivorAtlas.com, SurvivorSweat.com. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the weekend. Good luck tomorrow.